Thank you for joining me. This is KATI Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. Get this conversation right. Conversations are happening. We're all about communication because in this industry, it is a relationship-based business. So you have to get this conversation right. And we are going to talk about a new technology. Her name is BROOK. Isn't that fun? But you're going to hear all about how BROOK supports your salon, spa, or med spa today. And we have a very special first-time guest. We have Jyoti Iyer here. She is a linguist by PhD training who came to her parent company, Rosie AI, in 2023 as a conversation designer. How cool is that? Designing conversations, you guys. That's like a role that is so cool. Equipped with a deep understanding of human interaction, but completely new to the beauty and wellness industry, she found herself diving headfirst into the salon and spa business via AI. Now, the senior product manager for BROOK by Rosie AI, she is a familiar face to a growing set of clients, owners of influential U.S. salons who took a chance on an AI product and saw remarkable results. If you've ever used a chatbot, if you've ever had a messenger reply on your behalf, if you've ever explored this AI front desk tool or not, today's conversation is for you. You're going to learn a lot about the why behind this, what typically goes wrong when implementing these types of tools, and what BROOK is doing that is so unique and set apart from any other tech support in this particular area. So without further ado, help me welcome Jyoti. Welcome to Beyond the Technique.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you. And you are a very unique, trained, educated individual. Tell me and all of us, what does it mean to be a conversation designer? And where did this come from, this desire to follow or go into this field?
Amazing. I love that question, just to sort of tell you who I am. So a conversation designer, it's a very niche job. It's really a job where you understand things like customer service problems, real world problems, but it's combined with, you understand the real world situation and you're also coming up with solutions that have to do with communication. So it's like texting, talking on the phone, any places where people interact with systems. And, like you said, a lot of the listeners would have interacted with these systems and, it can be a really glitchy and unpleasant experiences sometimes. So really building the tools that help you communicate with services you use, including salons, it's kind of more of an art than a science, which is why you need that design aspect. So conversation design is that field. And so that's the kind of work I do. And honestly, I wasn't particularly looking to get into the beauty and wellness industry or anything like that. I was doing my PhD in linguistics and I was really interested in just how people use language in their real lives and how I could make an impact with these systems that people interact with and make them less glitchy and less terrible. And so I was looking for anywhere where I could apply those skills. And this industry just sort of happened to have a need, and Rosie AI happened to be doing work in this kind of space of interactive tools already. So things just sort of happened that way.
It's so fun with owners listening today. They have had over time to tweak their language to meet their team where they're at, because Generation Z and the generation coming up after them, which is Gen Alpha, they speak differently than millennials and Gen X and baby boomers. So there's already this almost not disconnect, but the major differences between generations. And then you have this nuance of different cultures, as America is this melting pot of different people with different backgrounds. And so it's fun that I would be like, oh, we could have a whole other podcast on how do we communicate effectively with people who don't think like us, sound like us, or speak the way we do. That would be so interesting sometime. But how did this affect how you built BROOK or saw the vision for how BROOK would communicate?
That is such an interesting question. I almost don't even think that that's the main point in a way. Let me tell you what I mean. So when we got into the salon and wellness and spa space, I think something that was interesting was that everybody had more or less the same problems. So we were hearing a lot of concerns around what do we do with variation? Everybody speaks differently, right? Like the AI needs to understand different people's speech, different people's nuance. Every business has its own kind of branding and things like that. What we found was that the similarities across businesses kind of outweighed the differences. So certainly there's space for, tweaking the AI and making it more brand specific and so on. But I would say that's like maybe 1/10 of the big picture. And the
Yeah.
big picture is really sort of it's more bread and butter things. It's like, what do you really want your reception desk to be able to accomplish? Accomplish it in a very lovely and professional way and giving luxury. If you're a luxury brand, what do you want to communicate? But really, being able to do things like greet clients on the phone in an effective fashion, help the clients who are calling you as a business to really get to their goal, I would say was like 9/10 of the problem. So that stylistic stuff is fun to play around with, and we definitely do that for salon and spa clients. But really, I think the meat of what we do is getting this set of actions, like getting it right the first time.
That is really cool. Thank you for bringing that up. I think that's important that everybody has the problems they're trying to solve. They're trying to get to the main goal. And that prompts me to ask, what are what's Brooke's capacity? Is Brooke handling phone calls? Is Brooke living on the website or social media? What is Brooke, first off, and where does she support the salon or spa business?
hmm So Brooke was always envisioned, in the context of, let me just paint you this picture. Like the context is you're walking into a salon or a spa and there's a certain feeling that you want, a feeling of, especially if it's a spa, a certain serenity. If it's a salon, I mean, whatever it is, you want to be greeted immediately. You want to have your check-in, check-out, whatever you're doing to be really smooth and really nice. You want like a really like warm interaction, right? If you're someone walking in the door, then that's what reception desks typically are trying to deliver. And there's a whole lot of other stuff going on in the business, right? Like on the ground, there's a million things happening, and then the phone rings. And that moment of disruption when the phone rings is really where we wanted Brooke to intervene. So initially, Brooke was designed to just pick up the phone when the receptionist in a salon or a spa isn't able to get to it. So almost like a backup option. And in fact, in the very first iteration of Brook, it was like just for after hours. So it's literally when there's no one there, but people are still calling you. What do you do? How do we get rid of, voicemail and then having to deal with it the next day, things like that. So Brook was initially developed as, a voice that would pick up your phone calls and then do what you want a really great receptionist to do, which is talk to the caller and lead them through. So are you trying to make a booking? Do you have an upcoming booking? Are you trying to reschedule? Stuff like that. Like, what are you calling for? How can I help you? And really do the action. So we connect into salon booking platforms so that, when someone's calling, they're not just talking to, a glorified voicemail. They're talking to an AI agent, which will actually be able to do the thing. So if they're trying to book an appointment, you actually end up with a booked appointment. It's not just a message that someone has to then action on later. So Brooke was kind of in the first instance a phone-based assistant, and then we later have expanded to a little pop-up widget that lives on the business website where you can interact with Brooke there. That's also an option. One of the most upcoming options right now is we do have support for texting because, like you said, right, different generational variants and so on. Like younger audiences really want a texting option. honestly, I don't want to pick up the phone and talk to somebody a lot of the time. I'd rather send off a quick text. So Brook is available to kind of make sure that texts, calls, web chats, wherever your clients are interacting with you, Brook is available. And the whole point there is, we have noticed in a whole lot of user research that we did that really the immediacy is very important. If someone's kind of on hold, or the text equivalent of being on hold is like being left on red, nobody wants that, right? And as long as people feel heard and they feel like they've got a response from this business that they're checking out, it really makes a huge difference in their perception of that brand.
Yeah, that's huge. So, will Brooke be this certain voice? Imagine I'm a customer and I'm calling, it's after hours. Will I actually hear, like, thank you for calling Beyond the Technique Salon, right? Like, how does that work?
Exactly. Yeah. Brooke will greet you and be like, I mean, these are things that you can change according to your branding preferences. But I think something that's important to me personally is Brooke. Typically, we encourage people to have Brooke say, I'm a virtual assistant helping out the front desk, because I think that captures how we want to position Brooke. We don't want to make it a mysterious thing. She is a virtual assistant. It's not a real person, but it's going to help you, do whatever you need to do. And also just put it out there that we're intending this to be a helpful intervention and help out people who actually do the work in the normal course, and not trying to replace them, but give them a tool that will actually supplement what they can do.
As an owner, I think one of my fears would be Brooke answers the call. The customer doesn't actually get to an endpoint they want, or maybe that I would want, which is a booking. Am I kind of notified the next day, hey, here are 4 people that interacted with your business after hours, and here's where that landed, so that the owner has an opportunity to come back through and either kind of say, oh, great, they're booked, this is done, this is awesome, or, oh, this one requires more follow up.
That's a great question. That actually really gets to kind of the heart of what we're trying to do here. So there's, I think, two aspects of Brooke that, as one of the designers of this whole process, I'm proud of, and I think we care about a lot. One is, what you said, kind of like there's an underlying thing there, which is it wouldn't be very nice if someone was calling and they just couldn't get to a person at all. And I think users of these systems, like callers, anyone interacting with your business, we already know everybody hates this, right? No one wants to get stuck with the AI. And this was one of the foundational things that we said, we're not going to hold your clients captive. If they're trying to talk to the AI, they can go as far as they want. If they're like, no, I want to talk to a person, we always give an option of, transferring to the desk, getting a hold of somebody. And this is something that businesses can customize too. But it's always going to happen that, someone calls after hours and there's nobody to transfer to, let's say, because there's nobody at the desk. Or any situation like that where maybe someone's talking to Brooke and they kind of go 3/4 of the way towards making a booking. And then they were like, I wanted to be seen on Friday at 6 p.m. You don't have that opening, forget it. I don't want an appointment anymore. And that's a lead, right? And so it's very important that, this sort of second aspect of what we do is, we have a whole dashboard and stuff. It's a place where you can log in as a business owner and you can review every single interaction. And so we don't gatekeep that. We think it's really important to, just be transparent. If it went well, you can see it. If it didn't go well, you can see that too. And essentially, then you don't miss any leads. Like you may have missed it in real time because they didn't end up with a booking while talking to Brooke, but you can always call them back when you have the capacity. So it lets you kind of, as an owner or as someone like a manager or someone at the front desk, you can sort of pick and choose when you want to call people back as well, which I think can be helpful.
Did you know over 60% of first-time clients do not return for a second visit? That is so painful, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. This means that Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to joinmaya.com to set up your own personal virtual tour and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We promise you will love Maya.
I think it's kind of like adopting online booking. There were people who rushed to offer it because they saw that that was going to be so important to the consumer. And to this day, there are people who avoid it. And it's shocking to me because I definitely like to adapt and discover. And if it doesn't work, fine, we tried it. But if it does, how helpful could that be? It it is probably coming down to this sense of control. Like the owner wants to have control, but what would you say that you do to help overcome that fear of losing control in these important conversations?
That is such an important perspective. I think that really touches on the fear that people have around AI, which let's just talk about it. Let's not beat around the bush. I think it just is true that AI can go off the rails. It can do all sorts of weird stuff. And I mean, I think that as Rosie AI and as the makers of Brook, I always like to say that we're in the business of creating guardrails and safeguards against exactly that. So we're not providing salons and spas with just a raw AI that's going to sort of run amok, but rather a very, very thought out and curated experience, which, in a way, it doesn't try to do everything. What we try to do is just do the stuff that you want your front desk to do and do those like 3 or 4 things really well. And so one of the things we do to kind of assuage that worry around, that lack of control and what's the AI going to do is, like I said, and for starters, we allow, people to log in and read through every single transcript. So literally every interaction that's taken place, you can review. But more than that, I think there's a couple of things that we do. So one is Brook is as a very core part of the product. Brook is kind of, I don't know how to say this nicely. We kind of made sure that she's not too smart. There is a, I think sometimes a virtue in not being too intelligent. Like just train Brook to do those, booking management functions and stuff. And if there's other stuff that a business thinks that people are going to contact them for, it's really, again, bread and butter things. Like people apparently, like in some businesses are like, okay, I've made my booking, but can you just tell me about parking real quick? Because I don't know where am I going to park. So if there are things like that that people feel like information that Brook should have in order to answer questions, we can support stuff like that. But at the heart of it, if somebody asks a question that the AI doesn't know the answer to, Brook doesn't try to answer. She's going to be like, I don't actually have the answer. Would you like me to connect you with the front desk? And I think that really is the right approach, is don't try to kind of overdo what the AI is taking care of, and let your people handle, the more complex or more personal questions. But I think also, like in a technical way, one of the things we do that really implements this like safety is Brook plugs into the booking platform that the business is using. And so everything about, the service catalog, which provider is providing which service, what are their actual, roster hours, things like that. What are the working hours of the salon? When are the actual availabilities and things like that? All that is coming directly from the booking platform. So as long as that's set up and it's working, you don't have to worry about the AI getting it right, because it's just going to rely on what you've got set up already.
Okay, I'm curious.
Mhm.
Does Brook integrate with all of the point of sales? I know that you are integrated with Mevo Salon Software. Are you integrated or able to integrate with all of them?
Okay, so I have a bit of really fresh news for you. So let me start chronologically. Okay, so we actually started out with Forest. So we do integrate with Forest, and we've got a number of Forest customers. We do integrate with Mevo, which you knew already. So we have had for a while now, for about I think over a year with Forest and maybe 6 months or so with Mevo, we've had a robust integration. But the new news is we've just signed on with Salon Biz. So we're very, very excited to get into the chunk of the industry that is serviced by Salon Biz, and Brook is going to be doing pretty much the same thing. It's just sort of optimized a little bit. It's very slightly different depending on the platform, but Brook is Brook no matter what you use.
I appreciate those nuances. Coming from the side of tech with Maya, when you integrate with the software, it doesn't look and feel the same for each integration because you are also working with that software's coding and their nuances to their technology platform. So I'm curious, there are other AI conversational tools out there. They're not probably all created equal. How would you, of course, you're going to have bias, who wouldn't, but how do you teach an owner what to look for when they're trying to decide which platform to choose, what will be the best fit for them?
Hmm. If I may, I'm going to take maybe an unconventional approach to answering this.
Yeah.
So, for me, one of the biggest learnings in getting into this industry, which I was an academic, I wasn't even working in tech, right? I had no idea what anything was. But what I learned very quickly was that this industry, the salon and spa, med spa business, but especially salons, I will say, is so based on just connections between people. And so I think in this industry specifically, I would say that the main differentiator that owners should look for is, does this AI company talk to owners and managers and people actually in the business, and do they know what they're talking about? And 2 years ago, I couldn't have claimed that I knew anything, but because of having many many conversations with many people, I think I can claim now, and my team can I think honestly say that we understand certain nuances and what people expect out of an effective AI. And I want to actually shout out to the kind of the person who got us started on this journey is Michaela Blissett Williams, who at the time I didn't know, and now I know she's a really big name in the industry. And we got started with Salon 718, which now has 8 locations in Brooklyn, and they were our first partner salon, and we continue to have Brooke working at Salon 718. And honestly, like, I don't think we could have developed a product that actually worked without the inputs of an actual salon, and not just any salon. This is like maybe the most complex possible kind of case, like multiple locations, a really big list of service providers who kind of work between locations, all sorts of real world scenarios that are fairly complex. And so I think just the fact that we went in, we got our hands dirty, and we found people who were willing to kind of stick their neck out and be part of this experiment with us, I think enabled us to learn a lot. So even though we may be sort of a lot of the AI tools, they look kind of similar on the surface, but I think this is our big differentiator, and that lets us really keep a finger on the pulse of the industry. And I mean, the other thing is we're a small startup, which that has pros and cons, but the big pro is that if I'm honestly, it's like I feel like I'm the I don't know what to call it. Like, I'm kind of the first person that people interact with, like our potential clients, our clients. If they tell me, hey, could you get Brooke to do this thing? It literally goes directly from me to our product team, and that's it. That's how short the path is. So we get things done. And I think that's a fairly big deal for our clients.
I really, really like that. And I appreciate it. I think, Jody, you are just ahead of the curve on so many things that people don't see or realize. I think the biggest obstacle is that there's so many options now for this technology tool.
Mhm.
But I'm pleased to say that and Brooke are the first who ever joined Beyond the Technique to be featured as a
Cool.
tool for our listeners, because our group of owners and leaders that listen loyally week after week to this platform do so because we do bring them the best of what's out there and available for them to be successful in their business, sustainable, and to not have the headaches surrounding it. And so I love that. If you were going to encourage owners like, hey, here at the end of the day are 3 things that Brooke will do for you that is not already happening for your business, what would you say those 3 things are?
Okay. So I think thing number one is voicemail is a really specific relic of the past, I think. And I think it's got to go. I think voicemail is over and it has no place in a forward looking business. And I think, even as, in my own experience, right, when I'm calling a place that I want to go to for something, and I call them and I reach voicemail, that can be the difference between am I going to go to them or am I going to go to the place next door, which is, maybe equally as good. So I think one of these, again, it's kind of a small thing, but I think it has a really profound impact in how, especially potential clients or leads are really going to see your business is I think this is one of the big takeaways for me. It's like almost like a watershed moment in like the changes in technology. It's like when people went from pen and paper to booking platforms and online booking, right? This is a moment like that when you just can't have voicemail anymore. I think it's over. And so that is the one thing I think which is a big impact. I think a second one would be like just again the immediacy, like the stuff which I think can turn a potential client off, or just people are busy, right? They don't want to be on hold and so on. And I think something that a really simple basic thing that Brooke can take away is that friction around like your clients being on hold. And that's kind of in a similar vein. It's an outdated thing. We don't need it anymore. And actually, because Brooke is an AI, even if there's like 5, 10, 20, 25 calls coming in at the exact same moment, the AI doesn't actually have trouble with taking multiple calls at the same time. So it's again a huge technological difference compared to, your phone line where you have certain limitations, right? Like if you have even 5 lines, if a 6th person calls, that's it. What happens to them?
If owners are listening and you're saying, these are the 3 things that Brooke will do for you that's not already happening in your business.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, So just to recap, right? Like Brooke will eliminate voicemail completely and actually replace it with a very, very effective review tool, an easy peasy dashboard where you can log in, just see what's happening. The other thing is Brooke will eliminate all of that friction that you have on the phone and just make it really easy, make sure nobody's missed. I think a third thing that comes to mind is this is really aimed at owners specifically, is this is something that some businesses have, but especially when an AI is introduced into the mix, one thing that we do is provide actual stats on what it's doing. So, how many bookings did you actually get out of having the AI in addition to your front desk team, right? So, like being really specific about what is the ROI that you're getting from Brook. So I think that is something really important, is that not only will Brook give you the service, but also you'll be able to see the impact. And so yeah, even businesses where you have like a sophisticated phone system, call center, and so on, there's often like beyond a certain point you don't have a report that tells you. And so we've been really focused on making sure we give you as much as possible in terms of how is the system doing? Is it doing what it's supposed to be doing?
Oh, I appreciate that. Okay, so Jyoti, what would be some final words of encouragement for everybody listening today, whether they've embraced AI to any capacity or not?
I think for me, what has been really transformative is to understand that there is a place for AI in the sort of just day to day functioning of a salon or a spa or med spa. And I think something to look to is, as an owner, you can give your teams a sense of calm. And, we've heard this. One of the people who told us this was Danielle Rutz from Cesar Salon and Spa. This is a Chicago 3 location business. And it was really something that I don't think we had thought about really, but we heard on the ground that just the knowledge that calls wouldn't be missed. They would be recorded, in a really easy to use format. There was a path for follow up and all of that. And there was a sense of quality. Like it's not just that people are being addressed by the AI, it's that they're actually being addressed by a good AI, right? So all of that, I think, can contribute to just giving your teams a sense of calm. And that may not be what you were looking for in an AI, but that is what Brook can actually give to you. So maybe a little bit of a mindset shift can take away from like, what should I be worried about? And rather, what can I actually get out of this? And I think that could be helpful in deciding whether to go for AI or not.
Well, thank you for being here. And I appreciate everything we've learned and just my getting to know you. I think it's been awesome. So I hope that you've enjoyed your time today as well.
Thank you so much. Do you mind if I put in a little plug before I leave?
I'm going to trust the
Okay.
podcaster Jyoti, who put out over 700 episodes. So here's what I'm about to say to everybody listening. I purposely didn't cover how much does this cost. You know why? It's going to be a heck of a lot less than having an employee that you pay taxes on, like significantly less. So you need to go to the link in our show notes where you can go and check out the website for Brook AI and check out their social media. All of that's in our show notes. Do you want to add any call to actions on top of that?
We do have a 14-day free trial. So we're very happy to have people sign up and just try it out completely risk free. And then, if you like it, you can have Brook for your business too.
Perfect. We did it. Go check it out, you guys. You'll love it. By the way, if you love this platform, please take a moment, leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening so that more people like you will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you're supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.